What's up, people? We are back with more Fault Milestone 1. The previous videos have gotten a little tedious with the fact that we are still in Albus's head, linked together through Manacrafty. I believe it was called Mind Dive, and we're basically uncovering a lot of the information from Ritona and Selphine's perspective that we already kind of found out when we were playing from Rudo's perspective. So when he was having, I believe he was having a flashback to his childhood about his family and how the birth of Zevit's enterprise, and just about Rune's evil doings as a child as well. So we're learning a lot of the stuff that we're actually learning we already sort of knew, so that's sort of the tedious part, but I can understand that it's obviously of very importance, of significant importance to both Selphine and Ritona to possibly try and help them, right? Because they sort of have to know what's going on, otherwise it's really hard to try and find the best course of action of even trying to help Sarah. So, which is obviously their end goal, because they don't really understand the situation yet. So in order to do that, they found, in their universe at least, in the game, they found the best time efficient way of doing so. But inside the game, or while I'm playing / reading it, it just sort of feels a little bit tedious, because we're going over a lot of the same things twice. But nevertheless, we're just gonna power through this together. We can do it, guys, until we get to the big juicy bit, which I know is gonna come at hopefully very soon. But yeah, let's power through it. Let's continue. Following the conversation we had that evening, Rudo had begun experiencing an unprecedented and explosive transformation. What emerged from the chrysalis that my previous or precious friend's son had willingly entered was a cold and callous shadow of his former self. His inability to innovate on the science and technological front still remained even as he matured, but the most noticeable change was the sudden emergence of CEO material. Rudo channeled his brilliance of conventional codes, law, and management into practice, and single-handedly hauled Zevit's enterprise out of the financial red. In truth, Sid never cared for the financial and managerial side of running Zevit's enterprise, but Rudo unexpectedly excelled in the field that his father forsook. In an effort to cover up the tragedy his sister left behind, Rudo continued to surpass us all with his poignant proposals and innovative ideas. His most impressive innovation was a contemporary system known as the stock market, which was wildly implemented around the entirety of the outer pole. He even brought in our company's main investors, established a board consisting of these individuals known as the Board of Directors, and essentially conducted a complete reform of what was once a private enterprise. Yeah, you go, Rudo. Rudo, I can't seem to find my seat anywhere. Am I so insignificant that I slipped your mind? Certainly not, Director Klaucles. We do have your seat in this room. And I'm telling you that my seat ain't in this damn room, Rudo. You and your family owe me for what your sister did to my boy. You haven't forgotten, have you? My boy's blind. My wife left me. My family has been destroyed. Our lives are ruined. And it's all because of that accursed girl. Your father was sympathetic to my plight when he offered me a position of power on this board. But are you? You don't intend to force a man whose life your sister destroyed out of a lifelong position that was promised by the founder, do you? For the love of mana, the founder has lost his marbles. His son disregards reparations owed to the family's victims, and his daughter was a damn psychopath. Is insanity imprinted in the blood of every Zevitz? It's been 10 years since I reluctantly accepted your father's offer to sit on this board. And while this may be all that I have, my seniority guarantees that I can make your life miserable if you don't fetch my damn seat. Director Klaucles, did you just threaten? Interesting observation, Director. My life can be guaranteed misery if I do not fetch your seed, correct? Oh, I find it oh so fascinating how those with seniority can fancy themselves into senility.
Excuse me? Say that one more time, you son of a...
Director Crowcleese, do you know where it is you stand at this very moment? You stand center stage, exactly in the spotlight for everyone to behold, discern, and dissect. Director, you are akin to the residual smudge of a greasy fingerprint on the pane of a glass window. You exist only as a stain in the history of this company. However, the more the stain stands out in the spotlight, the more intolerable it becomes to observe. I take it we have a mutual understanding then. Rest assured, Director Crowcleese, while my family may have been responsible for your family's collapse, we have since set aside 2 individual corporate accounts for your son and estranged wife. Your son will only be able to claim his when he's considered a legal adult, of course. And although you may have disdain for the lofty life you've earned for yourself, I'm certain that they're making full use of the lifelong reparations provided to them.
Why, you son of a...
Yourself, like many others sitting on this board, have become liabilities to the longevity of the company and will ultimately be purged from this body in an inferno.
What? Damn you! Who do you think you are, you son of a bitch? I don't have to take abuse from a little shit like you. Son of a bitch! I've got my eye on you, Zevitz. You've been warned. You're gonna regret the day you ever crossed me, Zevitz. Mark my words.
Okay. Interesting threats from a person whose life has completely collapsed. While I couldn't have said that any better, I believe some restraint may have been in order.
Restraint?
From whom? For Director Crowcleese. He's not worth our concern or time, Albus. He has more to be concerned than myself. Now that the company is set to go public, who knows what will happen to us? Whatever happens, however, only time will tell. And indeed, Rudo's foreboding predictions became a reality for us all to face. We lost many of the remarkable and talented individuals who had supported Zephyr's enterprise over the years. In the place of these old friends were fresh new faces gathered from throughout the entirety of the Outer Pole. 1 year later, Rudo, with all of his innovative reforms implemented and having been thoroughly proven over the course of the year, had hoisted Zephyr's enterprise up from the abyss, sparing the company from corporate collapse. In turn, the company's recovery would eventually allow us to compete on equal terms with Hivas again. With his stock market in hand, Rudo initiated an aggressive campaign to expand the company's influence and image throughout investments from the general public. In many ways, Rudo's empowerment of the people by encouraging them to invest in the company had done many things that neither Sid nor myself could accomplish in the early days of founding Zephyr's enterprise. Additionally, the advent of Rudo's stock market made the value of lifelong employment at Hivas seem a rather incentiveless venture for many people. Realizing that there was no way for Hivas to degrade our company any further, not with public opinion at risk, both our company and theirs returned to waging a familiar war centered around mana. And we still fight that war with everything that we've created thus far. We used everything from the Sisters, the Sevitz Medica Group, its pharmaceutical manufacturing subsidiaries, the stock market, even technological-driven informatics. With science driving our research into innovative methods to siphon and utilize colored mana, and improving the infrastructure of the Outer Pole, we strove to no longer be known as a god-forsaken continent by the rest of the Inner Pole. Soon after, however, the gods dealt us a cruel hand, forsaking us once more.
Reservation? What do you mean, I need a reservation?
I apologize for the inconvenience, sir, but that is company policy.
Policy schmolicy, missy. Ring that old bastard up and tell him it's Hirschman.
I am afraid I can't.
Hertzie? Albus, you're a real sight for sore eyes.
Marla, I can escort him. Understood, Director Folster.
Director, eh? Is that a kind of authority I need to get somewhere around here?
The company's changed since you've last stopped by.
You know what else has changed? Your face, Albie. You look like my old man now.
I'm telling you, old friend, all you Poindexters could use a month or two off for yourselves. Life ain't always about changing or improving anyone else's, Albie. I suppose old habits are truly hard to kill. I always found my honesty, or your honesty, quite refreshing. Why don't you give your surname first, though? Even Marla knows who your uncle is. Director Grauklis enjoys making his presence known, after all.
That's exactly why I don't want to go name-dropping that old bastard's name. The fact that we're even related gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Duly noted. There hasn't been any reconciliation between either of you yet?
Reconciliation? Between me and me old man? Or me and the old bastard of an uncle?
Your uncle?
Can't say, Albus. When I see them both in caskets, then you could say that we're alright and reconciled. But at least me old man took Marcus in and treated him like a right human being. Whatever happened to him Grauklis to break away like they did is none of my business, but that don't change the fact that the bastard let Sid's money get to his head. He could have used that stupid summer money to support that boy, but no, his greed made him grow into a big great bastard.
Hertzie?
It's all matter in the mind now. I couldn't care less about him, unless he shows his ugly muck around the shop. Then I tan the fat bastard.
I've missed having you around, Hertzie. You always know how to express your emotions far better than I ever could.
That's why I'm such a hit with the folks, Albie. I'm free, and most importantly, fun. How have you been doing these days, though? Why, you almost look like an old fogey.
If you were tasked with as many issues as I was, you'd be the same.
Issue schmishu, Albie. Forget about all that for once and stop by Able some more. I never get to see you anymore. All of you should drop your work once in a while and just live your life for once.
I would like that very much. Oh, I almost forgot to ask. What brings you here today?
Oh, I almost forgot too. I came to see why Sid hasn't put any orders in for new tailoring like he usually does. He's always put in a few requests here and there within his 6-month span, but I haven't seen him at all in the past year. I know he's always busy, but I needed to see his face for myself. What's with that look of yours, Albus? Did something happen?
Hertzie. Sid is going through a difficult time at the moment. No, he's been going through a difficult time ever since Aline and Rune passed away. He's imposed a self-isolation of sorts and hasn't left Laboratory 9 for a long time. Whatever he's doing down there, it's keeping him occupied at all times.
What do you mean, whatever he's doing? You don't know about it?
I haven't known about many things, including what Sid is currently doing, since he entered that laboratory. He's not receptive to feedback, unless it is total and unadulterated obedience to his demands, and if his demands are questions, he threatens with termination. Rudo has been the acting CEO for Zevit's enterprise since Sid's self-imposed isolation.
Rudo is the CEO now?
my little Rudo. That's great, Albus. That shy little bundle of joy finally made a man now. And it's running an old man's business to boot. I suppose if there's a silver lining in all this, it is that Rudo has proven himself a very capable leader. However, you won't see even a speck of that shy boy in him now. In fact, ever since Ruin's passing, everything around here has changed, for better or for worse. Is that so? Albus, could you let me meet with the poor bastard? I don't think there's much either of us could do for him right now. You haven't tried, have you? If he's working, then at least we know he's too busy to bother with us. But if he's just twiddling his thumbs, he's got time to talk to old Hirschwan. I don't know. I don't think Sid ever twiddles his thumbs. Yeah, missing the point. I just want to know how the old bastard's doing. As much as it pains me to say this, but I think that the Sid that we grew up together with is long gone. That's for me to decide with my own two eyes. Hertie. Listen, Albus. You may not know this, but Sid Sevitz is the toughest son of a bitch I ever had the privilege of knowing. I've never once known him to stay back down in the dumps, not before bouncing right back to being a stubborn bastard. He's not an easy fella to break, Albus. Even if Sid's spirit has been dinged up a little, all he needs is a bit of grease to his gears going again. You'll see, Albie. I'll get him back up and running again after 10 or 20 rounds at Avils. Okay. You asked for it. Don't say I didn't warn you. Is that you, Albus? I had the door sealed with my purified mana, but only you and Aline ever knew how to undo it. My two closest confidants. Wow, Sid is not looking good. But did I ever say that you could come down here? Say something, Albus. I know you're there. You're forgetting about old Hirschman here, Sid Sevitz. Sorry for dropping in unannounced at all, but I had to talk Albus into letting me see your old mug today. Hirschman? What do you want? What do I want? What don't I want, Sid? I want to work on your damn orders for tailoring clothes, but they've been missing from my backlog for the past year. That's what I want. You've been my regular for 15 years now, and I was worried that something might have happened. I needed to see up for myself. Interesting. Do me a favor, the both of you. Anything. Leave me. I'm in the middle of something. What are we? Strangers or something? We're worried about you, Sid. I'm telling you to get the hell out of my goddamn laboratory. I don't got time to waste on either of you. Sid! Don't touch him, Albus. Hirschwan, he needs help. Sid, how long have you been hacking your lungs up? That ain't none of your damn business. That's it. I'm getting you to a doctor now. No. Don't you dare. Don't you dare call me no damn doctor, Albus. What? Why did you hit him? He's bleeding profusely from his nose. There's too much blood. He needs a doctor. Leave him be, goddammit. Call that doctor and I'm gonna knock you senseless, I swear. Why? Speak up, Sid. When did these symptoms start showing up? Answer me. Okay, something is really wrong with him. I can't keep making those noises. I can't can't stand to see him so helpless. Sid, you can't even speak, can you? Look at me in the eyes and your old noggin. Are you sure there's no need for a doctor?
No. No. Oh. Please.
Piss off, huh? You stubborn old bastard. Albie, we're leaving now.
What? But...
Come with me now. Just leave the man to his work. What? Herchuan, Sid needs a doctor. Did you see how much blood he was coughing up? Why did you hit him at all? You were never one to let your fist speak for you. Calm the hell down for a minute, Albie. How can you ask me to be calm? Did you even see how he looked? He appeared on the brink of death itself. If you don't get him a doctor... You don't get it, do you? Get what? What is there to get? You've been by his side for far too long then, Albie. Even I could see what's going on through that head of his. Get out of here for a little while and come back with a fresh perspective. Then you'll know what I'm talking about. I have absolutely no idea what you're trying to tell me. I can't leave Sid or Zevit's enterprise, not while I know that he's... For the love of old man, Albie, if you really care about that stubborn old bastard, you'll leave him the hell alone. Let him go about his business. Herchuan, this is for your own good, Albus. I ain't gonna repeat this, so listen up. If Sid wants to spend his final days doing whatever the hell his heart desires, then you need to let the man die. I've said my piece, Albie. Whatever happens now is all on your shoulders. That stubborn son of a bitch. I'm gonna miss the hell out of him, but it's for the best. See you around, Sid Zavitz. Data set 9 entered. Just a little. Just a little longer. I'm almost. A week passed since we saw Sid, and ever since then, I've had nothing but sleepless nights, racking my brain around Herchuan's advice. After 8 days, I gave in. After our weekly boardroom meeting, I decided to go to Laboratory 9 before 2 of my assistants burst into my room. Albus! Director Folster! We have an emergency! What's the emergency? Vothel, Kirky, talk to me! The chief director, he engaged Laboratory 9's emergency protocol. He did? The backup generators for Laboratory 9 have been completely severed as well. The room is in the dark and completely sealed. Why would he do that? Laboratory 9 emergency protocol seals the entire room, flooding with colored mana until all reserves are completely purged. If anyone was exposed to natural colored mana, then you don't think he's trying to commit suicide, do you? Vathel, go and bring Rudo back here. Tell him it's an emergency. Kirky, come with me. We need to find a way to reserve Laboratory 9's emergency protocol, or to reverse, and stop the flood before it's too late. Yes, sir. To inform me that the backup generators have also been severed. Are there any assets in the laboratory that may be at risk? The assets are of little concern, Rudo. Your father is still in there. He is? So he is. If I must, so be it. Let's get a doctor on standby for him. I don't have the time to spare for this nonsense, but I suppose we'll have to initiate the arrangements for a plot and a funeral procession. Funeral? How dare you! Why are you raising your tone at me, Albus? You must have realized this some time ago as well. Sid Zevitz died with my mother and sister. The man in Laboratory 9 is nothing more than a walking corpse. The shell of the founder of Zevitz Enterprise has only been driven by a primal instinct to destroy his own legacy. That's enough, Rudo! If he died while trying to destroy everything that I've done to salvage the company, then good riddance! I said that's enough! No matter how flawed he was as a father, or as a founder of this company, you're still his son. You have no right to speak ill of the man who gave you life. Director Zevitz, Director Volster, the door has been unsealed. The emergency protocol must have completed its purge. Oh God. From the very moment that Kirky announced that the protocol had completed its cycle and the door was unsealed, I was overcome immediately by dread. Upon entering, darkness overwhelmed my senses as I took the first awkward steps into the pitch-black laboratory. I took no more than a few dozen steps before I located and identified the corpse of the founder of Zevitz Enterprise and my childhood friend. Having been exposed to the colored mana that flooded the entire chamber, I concluded that he had succumbed to mana shock, just as Rune had. No! No, no, no! Sid! Why, Sid? Why? What were you trying to accomplish? Sid chose to die in Laboratory 9, the room containing the most precise, sensitive, and valuable instruments in the whole company. They were all powered by purified mana from the mana mine, and were, whenever they weren't, they would be properly deactivated before shutting down their power source. Otherwise, an unexpected cessation of power or event could damage the machines, severely impacting precision. Kirky, I need your help. We need to restore power to this room. We can't see a thing in this darkness. Understood. After Kirky, why is it spelled differently this time? And Vathal restored the backup generators, which Sid had intentionally cut, we all realized what it was that Sid had been doing in seclusion all these years. For the love of all mana! Time ceased to flow for a moment, as we all gazed upon the object of Sid's constant obsessions. I don't believe it! What the hell is this thing? Chapter 6, Bash. Is that a new automaton prototype? For the Sisters Project? No, Kirky. That's a living, breathing human. But it can't be human, Vathal. Not even Sid survived the emergency protocol. And the lack of the pulse put the final nail in the coffin. The only thing that made the automaton appear lifelike was the light reflecting off its internal cameras. It moved, Kirky. What do you say to that? Somebody must have engaged its boot-up sequence. Did you two touch it? No, Albus. Neither of us made physical contact, except for Kirky, who was checking for a pulse. Can it speak? Does it have an integrated vocal bank? Hello, world? Does that answer your question, Vothel? What is your name? Name? What is a name? It appears as if its data bank was not integrated before activation. Well, a name is a word that is so unique it only pertains to yourself, such as an identifier. For example, my name is Vothel, and the fellow with the ponytail over there is my contemporary, Kirky. The bespectacled gentleman over there is Albus, and the next to him is Rudo. Rudo? Mr. Rudo? Curious. It appears that it has a prior association with your name, sir. But how? Rudo. Brother? Oh my god, I know what Sid did. He basically tried to recreate Rune, didn't he? Like, he must have somehow gotten a hold of... I'm guessing the easiest way to do it is to just directly get access to Rune's brain and somehow implement her memories or whatever into this automaton that's supposed to resemble Rune, right? Because visually it looks a lot like Rune, and that's especially what Sid was going for as well. And now that when it just came to life, immediately recognizes Rudo as brother as well. Just what? That's impossible, Kirky. You have neither a name nor an identifier, correct? Identifier? A name and identifier that pertains only to me. I have no recollection of any entry matching those parameters. But for some reason, there was a name that I was once affiliated with. No recollection, no issue. You will be known as Sarah from this moment onwards. Sarah? Isn't that the acronym for the project's conceptual report? Synapse, Architecture, Review, and Assessment? Why would you give it that name? Sarah? Indeed. Henceforth, when asked for your identifier, you will give your name as Sarah, and nothing else. Understood. Probably because Rudo just wants to drown out all of the memories and just forget about all of the memories of Rune whatsoever. But it's kind of hard when there's just like a sort of living person, because I'm not entirely sure, right? It seems that she's an automaton, but she looks so lifelike. So at the moment, I guess the best way to describe her that she's just half human, half automaton. I don't freaking know, but that's just what I'm gonna call it for now. But when you have this reminder that just looks exactly like your sister in a way, it's gotta be hard for Rudo to just completely ignore that part and to still not have those memories brought up every now and then. That's hard. Is this automaton destined to be used for the Sisters Project? Will it be deployed to the Abbey? Abbey? What Abbey? Oh, that's right, Kirky. It all happened before you joined our growing family. Before Sid's wife passed away, they made an arrangement to design and develop automatons for exclusive use at the Abbey in Cadia. They would be deployed at the Abbey in order to protect the Abbey's sisters against the more volatile patients who were casualties of daily P1 injections. Ultimately, they couldn't conceive a working prototype that had everything that a normal human being would naturally possess, and the Abbey opted out. It wasn't physiology, but the lack of a soul that turned the Abbey away from the prospect of having constant protection. Ah, now it makes sense. It all makes sense. I understand now why Sid just basically made this his life work. Even if he was on the brink of death, he just wanted to do this. just sort of as a, because this entire idea was sort of Aline's, his wife's plan, right, to help Zevit's corporation be able to compete with Hivas at all, after sort of becoming second place in comparison to Hivas, I guess. And yeah, Abby's or Aline's plan was obviously to help the Abbey and then give them automatons to basically what Vothel said earlier, to deal with the more volatile patients. But eventually the Abbey just decided that because they were automatons, they didn't want patients to be treated by them, because they thought that patients just wanted to being treated by humans rather than just robots, which is also why the Vothel mentions the lack of a soul, which basically a robot doesn't have, right? So that is why I think Sid just wanted to create it. He just wanted to see his belated wife, who had just passed away, her plan. He just wanted to see it through, to come to fruition, as sort of perhaps a promise to her. I don't know exactly, and I think it resembles Rune, because it's your daughter, right? She passed away too, so you must be grieving about that at some, to a certain aspect as well, even though she probably wasn't the ideal daughter in the world. But still, it's still your daughter, right? Even if she's the most evil human being in the entire world, it's still your daughter, and as a father, you can't help but feel some sort of grief when that person dies. So yeah, in that aspect, it all makes sense to me, at least what Sid was trying to do here. Good riddance. That would have been an utter and complete waste of our resources. Man, Rudo has really become just tough as nails. He just completely, I don't know. It's probably because he took it upon himself to prevent Rune from doing all the evil things, and especially after just knowing for all those years what she wanted to do and what her entire plan was, and that it still came to fruition, and that it tore his family apart, and especially his mother, who I think he cared for the most, which is probably what caused this severe change in Rudo as well. Several days later, we discovered abnormal accounting errors in the general ledger. Apparently, Sid redirected funding from several other projects and corporate functions towards the sister project, resulting in the creation of this one automaton prototype. Sid didn't leave any messages or will of any sort, did he? Not on paper. If he kept anything on his personal mana terminal, it's all gone now. The emergency protocol overloaded the device circuitry with colored mana. What about his planner? Sid always carried a personal planner with him at all times. He kept all of his notes and observations there. The planner you're referring to has been discovered, burned to a crisp. Are you certain of this? Positive. In addition to more unfortunate news, we discovered that Sid had destroyed every note or written piece of media from the past few years. Based on our findings in Lab 9 alone, we can only conclude that Sid intentionally destroyed anything that could have been indicative of a motive or his work. But that leads to a conundrum. If he wanted to destroy all material evidence before taking his own life, why did he not also destroy the prototype? I suspect it has something to do with the breakdown between himself and the Abbey. After some convincing from Aline, Sid promised the abbot that he would provide automatons with the appearance of a human, but ultimately, the abbot declined Sid's offer. I suppose the automaton could be part of the legacy of that failed agreement. Although a poignant reminder of his failures, on an incredibly short list of them, the completion of Sarah would signify redemption, his masterpiece. Somehow, I doubt that one last chance at redemption was his largest motivating factor. What makes you say that? If it was redemption that Sid was after, why did he stop with just one automaton? Wouldn't fulfilling the original agreement have been a more redeeming motivator? Instead, he did the opposite by burning all of his notes and research materials. I'm telling you, Kirky, he wasn't thinking about Zevit's enterprise when he created Sarah. He was thinking about self-redemption. Zid Zevitz was always the sort of scientist who took everything very personally. Everything he did to fund his project, albeit through illegal means, was means to an end, with vindication as his primary motivator. But that doesn't answer why he would feel so compelled to destroy all of his work. I cannot help but feel there was another motive at work here. Gentlemen, you are both sorely mistaken. If there is one thing I learned about my father, it was to never attempt and analyze for cognitive comprehension. The madman is now dead and gone from this world. We need not descend into madness in order to ascertain madness. Rudo, there's nothing more to discuss, Albus. We have better things to look ahead towards. For starters, the sizable finances that my father had used in order to fund the production of this prototype. Without documentation to describe its main utility, the recovery of the finances that were lost, as well as the value of the automaton, remain highly dubious. I suggest we raise this issue at our next board meeting. I will make the arrangements to call for an emergency meeting. Gentlemen, you may resume your daily tasks. Until further notice, Lab 9 will remain sealed. Very well. As much as I'd like to analyze your father's motivations, I realize that no conclusion may ever be reached. Agreed. I will also reserve my judgment for later. Please inform when the emergency meeting will convene. Rudo, we need to speak. We may speak only on the condition that it does not pertain to the elephant in the room. Enough, Rudo. Look at that automaton. Does its appearance not remind you of a certain someone? Of all the people Sid modeled it after. He chose to model it after your little sister, Rune. Does that not have some sort of meaning to you? Albus, do you sincerely believe that I did not also share the same exact observation? If you did take notice, why did you not verbally address the matter directly? What matter needs to be verbally addressed? The matter of her appearance, which is an exact replica of Rune's. What purpose would such a trivial announcement serve? Rune, like my father and mother, is gone from this world, and nothing can ever contest that irrefutable fact. If there is one matter that needs addressing, it is this. What is it? Sid Cephas was truly a sick, dying man, and while dying in solitude, he recreated a product of a bygone era, the deceased daughter who would never succeed him. What would the outer pole make of Sid Cephas if people ever knew that he had, in his final days, created an automaton in the image of his dead daughter? The issue at hand now is managing the sums that were lost due to my father's ill appropriation of company finances. I advise that you do well not to disclose this to anyone else, Albus. We need not cause unwarranted concern for the board of directors. On that, we may agree. I sincerely hope that the automaton proves useful. Otherwise, we'd have to write it off as a complete waste of corporate finances. Albus, it's almost time to convene for our emergency meeting. If you're ready, then we should be on our way. I vote nay. I mean, look at it. It appears so lifelike. Anybody could mistake it for an ordinary girl. Has anyone on this board ever said anything so miraculous? Or anything seen anything so miraculous?
A machine that appears so human, nobody would ever think twice. Yes, its creator may have destroyed all evidence material, which could have been indicative for his motivation, but this is the final work of the ingenious Sid Sevitz. I motion that Sarah be kept under observation until we can piece together the reason behind its conception. Looks can be deceiving and equally devious. After all, the emotional depth of this automaton is literally skin deep. But I see where you're coming from, Kirky. It does appear far too convincing to be anything other than human. Why does it look so sullen? Is it in your programming to evoke an awkward mood with that disgusting expression of yours?
No, not that I am aware of. An automaton with a fictive emotional depth and tone. See? Fictive emotional depth and tone. Exactly what the real rune had as well. It doesn't even only look like rune. It actually has some traits of the little rune as well. From these findings, I may safely presume that this automaton truly was meant to be a part of the Sisters project. Sid really did create this one final masterpiece as a means to redemption in order to deploy it to the Cadian Abbey. This prototype was produced for the purpose of protecting the Abbey sisters.
I find that doubtful. All speculations aside, I vote yay for the dismantlement and disposal. It may possess a compact frame, but it also exerts a force of 10 strong men. How could we ever hope to stop it, should it rebel against our collective will?
Director Crowcleese, I feel that it may have helped if you listened to the whole conversation. We all know very well where you stand. Now, aside from your incessant, unwarranted paranoia, is there anything else that you wish to contribute?
I gave my honest opinion, as was asked of me, before your excessive long explanation. While you may see the technical side of this matter, it does not make your opinion any more important than my own. To tell you all the truth, I share Director Crowclee's reservations as well. Who knows what processes are running within the cranium of this automaton? Even now, I cannot in good faith say that I feel completely comfortable with this machine nearby.
I find that both of your concerns are absolutely groundless. If it is, as you say, capable of killing us all because we do not know what it is thinking, then why has it not acted on those fears yet? Because it does not know anything. Its mind is a blank slate, and it's in the process of learning everything spoken in this boardroom. I advise you all to approach Sarah with an open mind. Additionally, I do not believe that Sid's final intent was to create an automaton capable of causing indiscriminate harm.
Who can say what Sid intended? Can you truly say that Sid didn't create this thing for the purpose of harming others after his death, when he could escape all responsibility? Even with the fruitless exchange of conjectures. The purpose of this meeting is to address the matter of the money, the very money that was funneled into the funding of Sarah's creations. Was it created to be the catalyst for a debate concerning the intentions of our late founder? No! Now clearly, Sarah was created for some purpose, but for the finances that were poured into funding its creation, it better damn well pay off in the long run. We desperately need to figure out how to migrate this loss.
We require a probationary period, which will be used to ascertain Sarah's functions and utilities. I suppose that's one proposal that I can actually find feasible enough to condone. Of directors, it was decided that Sarah would be placed under supervised observation. Several weeks afterwards, it became evident that Sarah's memory capacity for learning was growing, while it began exhibiting unique personality traits. In the early stages of its probation period, Sarah would often take to task, almost dejectedly, but as time passed, the defining line between human and machine became too blurred to discern. At first, there was a noticeable divide among the ranks of the directors and how they regarded Sarah as a possible threat to their lives. These unfounded concerns, too, were quickly dispelled after they gradually acknowledged that Sarah bore no ill will towards anyone. There was a point during the trial period when I asked with supervising Sarah's performance, or where I was tasked with supervising Sarah's performance at the company's mana mine. Right, well, we're gonna end the video here. This was a pretty long one, and holy crap, did we find out a lot. Still a lot of questions, of course, but yeah, fuck, let's just go to the freaking next video, guys. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.